There is absolutely no way. There is no way that we wake up tomorrow and Christie Sides is in her job. I'm convinced. I'm fully convinced after the press conference that she's just had. And what I'm benching the Golden Goose for so long that the crowd started chanting, "We want Caitlin." Not even giving her like 4 minutes in the fourth quarter to just go and chuck when the game's over. Not even giving her that. Like, a meaningless shot chucking. She shot the ball 8 times, but there are 3 things that she has done in the last day that I'm like, I think she's fired. First of all, I didn't hate it that much. The, like, saying that she texted to say they woke up a monster, because at the end of the day, look, she's a competitor. I think everyone knew that was happening. I don't think it changes anything. All it does is it allows people to meme it on Twitter. It allows people to meme it on Twitter every time she has a bad game. I actually don't think that makes any difference. I don't think it makes any difference in how she's being played. I don't think it makes any difference on how other teams are guarding her. They were already guarding her the same way. Carrington guarded her the same way in the first game. And she got 20 when Carrington went off. Like, Carrington's Janae Carrington is one of the best defenders in the league. So I don't think it really changed anything, to be honest. But still, it's not the greatest look, especially when she maybe didn't have the greatest first half. She didn't have a bad first half. But then, pulling your starters in a game like 3 minutes into the second half is crazy. That is crazy. That's absolutely crazy. And I've already made the video saying I think she threw the game. But like, not running only plays for Caitlin Clark to go right for an entire game is wild. It's absolutely wild. It's like running 3-point shooting plays for Shaq. It's like telling Steph Curry, go post up. We're not running 3-point. We're not running you at the 3-point line. You're posting up. Like, it is what it is. And like, look, Caitlin Clark has the problem. Like, she has like the flaw in her game. And if you listen to how Michael Jordan would say, and he'd guard LeBron James. LeBron James used to pull up going left anytime he drove left, and he'd drive going right. So it's a lot of right-handed players have that flaw, not to the extreme of Caitlin Clark, but a lot of right-handed players struggle to pull up going right, and a lot of right-handed players struggle to attack the basket going left. It is what it is. It is what it is. She'll work on it. But Christie Sides, again, was asked what went wrong, and she says, you can't coach effort. You can't coach effort, and I get it. I'm not going to say their effort was there. Their effort was brilliant or anything. But if you watch that game, they sat in a 2-3 zone where the bottom 3 players sat flat along the baseline. They sat flat, and then the top 2 guys just did all the running. And then what would happen is that they would skip pass, and the bottom player would not come up. And it happens so often, and DeWanna Bonner was open, these guys were open. It happens so often, and also they left the middle open. They literally played a flat line, which meant that the middle was open. The middle was open. So the only thing that the 2 back players did in that 2-3 zone were guard the corners. And they didn't play anyone in the corners. They played a 3 out and a high-low. The middle was open. The middle was open. And the skip pass was open. Everything was open. They literally played a zone that left everything open. You know in what scenarios that zone works? When you're 14 years old and the other team don't have any competent shooters on the team, and you're a bad basketball coach and you don't care about developing your players and you just want to go and win the game. That is the only time when that zone works. And she ran that zone in a WNBA game. She ran that zone. Like, I'm sorry, your players are demoralized. They're absolutely demoralized. If a team does not put in effort from minute 1, you've clearly like gone in with a game plan and they're just not playing for you. They're clearly not playing for you. Caitlin Clark she's somebody that looked like she loves playing basketball. She does not look like she's having fun. And Leah Boston is not having fun. Kelsey Mitchell's fine because she's just allowed to go full GO-wise. Erica Wheeler is having the time of her life because she wouldn't be getting minutes for any other WNBA team. She got a max contract from this team. Christie Sides got her a max contract. Christie Sides got her a max contract. Like, that is crazy. Christie Wallace she's fine out there. She sucks, but she's fine out there. Because, you know what? Like, again, Christie Sides brought her from Atlanta and is the only WNBA coach that would play her. Like, that was her best game today, and she was still not very good. Like, Nalissa Smith had been told 2 weeks ago before Fagbenle's injury that Christie Sides didn't know what she brought to the team and that she was going to be basically phased out of the team. And then Fagbenle got injured and suddenly she's starting again, but one of their main scorers. Like, we're not even 2 weeks off that. This is the worst coach in pro sports. And I have a feeling that, look, I think throwing a game with the way she went out tactically, the fact that it actually doesn't look like she's throwing these games. Like, the team are giving up early. I was the same against the Liberty. Anytime they're like, the team aren't being put in a position to succeed from the get-go. And they look like they gave up early against the Liberty too. But then when they go out with some actual flair, they're running some competent sets, and it looks like she's actually doing something coaching. Maybe she's an assistant coach that said, no, we're just screw this. Maybe someone on the team said, no, we're running these plays today. But it's like, it goes from a creative quick hitters. That is also the problem. They don't run a motion offense. They literally just run quick hitters. They don't have any sort of off-ball movements, anything set, other than a 4-out one in when they cut off Aaliyah Boston. Literally, they just run quick hitters. That's all they run. All game, every game is quick hitters. And today, they didn't even run quick hitters. They didn't even run quick hitters today, which is the craziest part. They just ran a high pick and roll 4-out one in. That's it. And it was bad. But to say that your team needed to work harder and putting all the blame on your team when, you know what, effort-wise, maybe it's not there, but you're not putting them in a position to succeed. I'm sorry. The team literally did not guard DeWanna Bonner. They did not guard DeWanna Bonner. And that is not you don't, whatever is switching off on someone for a possession or two, you do not leave a player open for a half a game unless it's tactical. They left the best scorer on the other team wide open. Unless it is tactical, you do not leave that player. That player is not left open for the whole time. And if that player is left open more than once, the player who left him open more than once should be whipped off. But I'm sorry, it was Christy Wallace, I think. She's obviously not going to get subbed off. But she wouldn't even play Celeste Taylor until Grace Berger rolled her ankle. Celeste Taylor wasn't even going to play, and Celeste Taylor actually did well. She was a really good defense player in college. She's the exact type of player that this team would need. She did well. And this is a coach that looks like she's throwing games. She's so bad as a coach that I was fully convinced she was throwing games. I made a video talking about how she's throwing games because no way she can be that incompetent. I'm genuinely convinced if you took a random person out of the stand and told them to coach the Indiana Fever, they would not do any worse than Christie Sides. They genuinely wouldn't. I think that there are coaches in the thousands. There are thousands of coaches. She has an assistant coach. Just bring one of them up. The team can't win. She's terrible. She's absolutely terrible. She was terrible last year. She's terrible this year. I'm reading more and more stuff about her last year, about how bad she was. She's awful. She's genuinely the worst coach in professional sports. And if she is in a job tomorrow after basically outing Caitlin Clark for saying they've woke up a monster, which the only thing it does is put more pressure on her. I don't absolutely hate it. If that was the one flaw from Christie Sides, I would be fine for it. Basically, spending a year throwing her team under the bus, not setting them up to lose today, and then throwing them under the bus, or setting them up to lose initially after the Caitlin Clark thing yesterday, then benching the starters for 17 minutes, including Caitlin Clark, who's the biggest draw in the league, who half the fans in the crowd were there to see, benching her for that whole time, and then coming out and blaming the team after the game. If she is still in a job tomorrow, I want, Liz Dunn? Or the GM or the owner, their heads. It's no longer Christie Sides' fault because she's incompetent. She is incompetent. There is no situation where she should be in a job tomorrow. If she's in a job tomorrow, it's on the GM, it's on the owner. It's not even on her anymore because she is completely incompetent.